And with that, hello, welcome back to Dissonant Waves. My name is Domino. You got Rix and Katrikas here. It is episode
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
146.
trying here, Dominic, but it's not sure if it's working.
Episode 146. Very close to 150. Uh, Trix and I have had long days. There's a little bit of brain deadness happening. Ritz has had a lot of
I've
things
had a
happen this week.
public holiday.
Yeah.
Today is a beautiful day for me. Yeah. It's fucked.
I worked 10 hours in a kitchen.
I was in business meetings all day. That was fun.
I
But
played Ratchet and Clank for 2 hours before joining.
we have a number of things to talk about today. Ritz has chosen, the summer 2000 album Ellie Kemper, the new one. Bigger Boots' new EP, tshh, or Rimshot, whatever you want to call it. Lobsterfight, Gingerbee, Cicadahead, and godfucks. A lobster bee and cicada walk into a bar and find God split. Tiny little houses. Every day I wake up, I find another reason not to. Or every day I wake, I find another reason not to. EP. Then I chose Rock Walls and Tall Women's Making Friends. This Taylormade Septet's Taylormade Live EP. Boss's Jokes EP and their new single Transcendental. And the Neutral Milk Hotel Little Birds new version that is on Bandcamp. And Trix chose B-52's Cosmic Thing and Daisy and the Scouts Maggot. Whew.
Yeah.
So, I think we should start with Neutral Milk Hotel, just to kind of round that out real quick.
I just want to point out that I just found something whilst browsing in other discords that Salem Corridalis, or however you pronounce it, has announced a new album coming out in November, and just look at the feature list on there because that's probably going to be important when we go into covering one of our artists today. But Summer 2000 is going to be on that.
Oh, that'll be exciting. Cool. We got more Gingerbee. Oh, Elizabeth Whittington. Yep. Okay. Interesting.
That's when the announcement is. That literally got announced yesterday. I thought that's a funny note to start this out on. But yes, Neutral Milk Hotel, Little Birds. I really just do be hearing Jeff go dee 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 for 12 minutes.
It's good.
I really like the new instrumentation. I really, really like having a finished version, more or less. The accordion work is really stellar.
Little Birds as a song, just either one of them, shits on the Everything Is EP.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's something about Jeff's vocals on it, but it is very soothing. And whilst I do like some of that lo-fi sounds that early Neutral Milk Hotel has, when you can actually like properly hear his vocals and they got that more polished production going in, even if it's not completely clean, but when it's more polished, it's just night and day. It's so much lovelier to listen to.
And like, the age in his vocals has really, I think, matured them, make them better than they were 25 years ago. So having a recording from like 2014 is like wild to think about. Like that's the first new material that they've released in any kind of like mainstream format, in over a decade. And I didn't even know it existed until I just happened to look. And it's like, man, that's just a remnant from that tour that I almost went to. And, I didn't get to see it, but we do have that one recording, that one track, that for better or worse is the final Neutral Milk Hotel song. So it has some kind of legacy. And it replaces the other live version that was released, which was not nearly as good, which was just another version of the demo, essentially. And Jeff being very wishy-washy about it, as he tends to be sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the instrumentation was fantastic. Turns into a kind of a dirge, kind of like a folk fairy tale almost kind of thing, like very European to me. The sounds are kind of like that German, Austrian, like Hansel and Gretel type thing, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what another album would have been. Would have been more like that? Was that kind of an idea of what could have been, or just who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, it's kind of hard to talk extensively about it because it is, in the end, just
One song that
and
we've
it's
kind of already
couple different, yeah. But I mean, coming back into this straight after the Everything Is, I mean, we all, but basically all Neutral Milk Hotel at this point, but there's probably some hidden offcuts or something going on Jeff's computer that we'll cover one day. But until then, yeah, this
is
early
just mixtapes, but yeah,
it's just a really nice Neutral Milk Hotel song. I don't think it. I think it's one of those ones that it goes like, if it was on in the airplane over the sea, you could probably find a place for it to fit, but it just doesn't need to be because you can't really think of any song to replace as well.
Right.
That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah,
I do think it's better than O Comely.
It feels like a. I don't think it's better than No Comely.
No, Comely is better.
I like O Comely, but I think this song, especially this version, is ascended pretty high in my rankings of Neutral Milk Hotel songs.
It's somewhat up there, but I think I prefer Everything on in the airplane over the sea. Maybe. Nah, I mean, the only songs I'd say I probably don't enjoy more than it are the kind of like interlude or intertwining songs, but yeah, I wouldn't change them up on the album.
My favorite Neutral Milk Hotel song is still Engine.
Good one. I like Engine.
Look at you being the cool kid.
Yeah, there's not a ton to say. I just wanted to start off with that just because, hey, it's a 2023 release,
Neutral
technically.
Milk Hotel.
It's new material. But okay, I'm going to open up the floor then. Who else wants to talk about something?
About changing what album, or?
If you want to keep on this topic, we can. If you want
to
do, we can.
I mean, we can't really do favorites and least favorites.
Nah. It's the true blender. Every song sounds like the same song.
Fuck, I'm too brain dead for this right now.
Oh, cool.
Anyways, while we're talking about brain damage, let's talk about the fan club I want you guys to join, the Fred Schneider fan club.
B-52s.
Yes. This is a phenomenal little album.
Check those honey buns.
Oh yeah.
There is one word that can be used to describe this album, and probably even the band.
Camp.
And don't yes, that's exactly the fucking word.
Oh yeah, they know that and they lean into it.
I honestly, it when you go into certain descriptions and stuff like that, that's when it becomes the question of are they going with it, or are they trying to be something that they're not? And this band is camp. This band knows that they're camp, so they don't slow it down. And yet, I'm not a big B-52s fan or anything like that. This album, it's not my favorite of the week or anything like that. But it is a good, fun album.
I just want to
it's.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can talk, Dominic.
I just wanted.
I forgot that we're on this bit of lag here, but you can.
Oh yeah, I don't know what's up with that. We'll get it figured out one day. But the weirdness of Athens, Georgia, like the music scene that's popped up there, is so interesting to me. Because like that is B-52s, that's REM, that's Of Montreal. Those all hit like a decade one after the other. I think Harvey Milk was also from Athens, if I remember correctly. So, there's a lot of like differences, but Kevin Barnes and Fred Schneider and Michael Stipe all like very queer musicians, queer icons in their own rights, and very camp in different ways. Well, Michael Stipe not as much, but it's just interesting that that's kind of been like the thing that Athens tends to produce.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying just kind of what I like about this album and why I consider it to be a fun album is that it feels very genuine listening to everything on here. I'm not meaning as in like this is so much like they think this is probably the most important music that they've ever written. I don't know, I'm enough on this to know it, but it seems like they're genuinely having fun with all the music production and recording that's happening on here. I mean, it is.
It's because everybody's moving and everybody's grooving, baby.
It's definitely not one of those like very rough produced or sounding records on here. It's quite clean, it's quite polished, like any pop album usually is since the beginning of it. But I do like that this is an album where we're listening to. There is quite a lot of, despite obviously Schneider's basic talk vocals that happen throughout the whole of the album. And excuse me, I'm not really too familiar with all the members' names or anything like that, but the female vocalist has I noticed whilst listening to it, she strains her vocals quite a lot in this album, and it gives.
There's Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson that kind of share the vocals for their part.
Yeah, and as I was noticing, like their vocals sound kind of strained, and it's one of those things in which it can sound a bit rougher than, especially when you hear a lot of pop songs and stuff like that. You don't actually usually hear the strained vocals. It's not illegal to do it. It hasn't been too wild, I guess, to put those type of vocals out. People will always reach the high notes and stuff like that, but that's not what I'm meaning. It's not about them reaching the high notes. There's an actual sound that sounds like they're straining their vocal cords while singing, and I like that kind of roughness that's happening in that.
I can understand that, yeah. I guess a couple of things made to point out that I kind of guide kind of the thinking about this album. Number one, this comes after the death of their guitarist Ricky Wilson, who was Cindy Wilson's brother. He was like one of the main songwriters and whatnot. So he had died from AIDS a couple of years before this, and so this was them coming back after that. And this was also like a decade into the career and probably has some of their biggest hits. So, I mean, like, I don't know. You tell me that Love Shack is a song from 1989. I will barely believe you.
It does not feel right.
Like, the MTV Music Awards in 1990
like, what year was Weezer's
Shack.
Blue album?
Weezer's Blue album, I think, was either 94 or 95. Let me
That's the first one, right?
So 5 years out from the Blue album. Yeah, it's the first album.
Yeah, 5
94.
years. Like, Love Shack,
we
especially
went from having an orgy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we went from having an orgy to being depressed within 5 years.
Oh yeah. I was say, like, Rome especially sounds like a song that's 10 years older than it is. Like, I didn't realize B-52s had done the song Rome. That's one of those songs that just plays on like ads all the time. If you had told me that was like a Fleetwood Mac cut, I would have believed you.
Damn, fair.
They definitely did have an aesthetic as well that made it seem like they were, and that's when you call it camp, I guess. It's kind of all being a throwback to this type of sound or anything. But they sounded like they were from the 40s or from the 50s more than they did from the late 80s. I mean, obviously they started way before the late 80s, but that's neither here nor there.
79 is when they started.
They inspired John Lennon to make music again with Rock Lobster.
Yeah.
But it sounds definitely inspired by a lot of the older pop songs, even from. I mean, pop becomes a weird thing to describe when you talk about it before the Beatles because that changed the landscape of music as it was, and you hear what was popular back then and what's the pop sound of that, I guess. And I mean, it doesn't even sound like this. This is I'll do the hottest take I can possibly do, and then we'll all laugh at me later. But it's kind of like how 100 gex is popular now, because you get the nostalgia of the old music that everyone was a kid when they grew up into, but it doesn't actually sound like that.
52 gex.
I can
and
see what you mean.
B52s, I imagine, has a very similar, in which there is quite a lot of nostalgia going in with that, because there's a lot of camp happening in there, and camp's not exactly an 80s thing, or late 80s thing specifically, especially since the years ahead of it would turn into what's basically the alternative scene growing up and having its peak.
I think the B-52s themselves describe their sounds as kind of like raiding a thrift shop and just going with what works.
Yeah, kind of trashy thrift aesthetic. Very pragmatic in a way. One thing to mention too is that this album was co-produced by Nile Rodgers, who, as we know, is also on
I had no idea about that. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And he's just a legendary guitarist in his own right.
He did guitar on track 9 as well, which is Topaz, interestingly enough.
That's fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah, no. So there's some like rock and roll royalty happening with that. I mean, the Cosmic thing was also a soundtrack cut for Earth Girls Are Easy. So someone thought, hey, let's contract the B-52s to make a film score or soundtrack at least. So this was kind of, the height of their mainstream popularity, as it were. Which for a band that's as kitsch as this and is like weird and out there and new wavy, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What I'm surprised about as well, though, is the lasting legacy of the album in a whole. Now, obviously, Love Shack and to some extent Rome hasn't gotten as much of attention. I'm just going by Spotify streams. So if we go for everything else, blah, 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 blah. But Love Shack has nearly 217 million plays. Rome has nearly 35 million plays. Topaz is the third highest at nearly 4.4 million plays. Two other songs, you get near the 4 million plays, and the rest are all just a bit above 1 million.
Well, let me guess, Rock Lobsters is one of the higher ones?
Well, I'm just talking about the album, but Rock Lobster isn't on this album.
Enough. Yeah, you're right. I thought you were just talking about overall the band.
Yeah, not overall, just this album.
Yeah.
So it seems like obviously people have given the full album a listen or anything, but people don't really so much go back to this album as in a full as they do just to certain songs here. There's a couple people who go for some of the deeper cuts, but in the end, everyone's just going to Love Shack, and then I mean, I keep hearing Rome still on the radio, whenever someone's blasting that still plays, but I feel like people just don't really remember that it's a B-52 song.
Yeah. No idea. Love Shack is a weird single too, like to think about it as a song, because it has that thing of like what is it? Oh god, what fucking song am I thinking of? I think it's Living on a Prayer, where like you expect that chorus to hit way sooner than it actually does. Like there's a bit of song you get to before you get to the climactic moment of Living on a Prayer. This isn't exactly a one-to-one connection to Love Shack, but Love Shack is a lot longer and a lot more like weirder than you're led to believe from like hearing Love Shack.
See, I thought the song that you wanted to do connection to there was Elton John's Tiny Dancer. That's the one where everyone expects the chorus to be a lot more earlier and frequent.
I guess that works too. Yeah. I just think of Living on a Prayer
Mhm.
more because I hate the structure of that song. I don't hate the Love Shack structure, but
I just hate Living on a Prayer.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair as well.
Bon Jovi slander is allowed in this podcast.
Fuck John Bon Jovi.
Here's that I don't mind listening to the full of Love Shack. It's a very weird, interesting song. It's just not something I would think would be a
I got
mainstream
me a
hit.
Chrysler. It's as big as a whale.
And it's about to set sail. It's one of those obscure hits. Is the weird thing to think about. Like it's B-52s are so well known for their hits and everything like that, and no one really considers it an obscure hit. But when you really
Yeah.
think about the songs that they put out that got any real success, and still have that lasting success, I would honestly say Rome is the least obscure out of all of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like Rock Lobster is another weird song. It's kind of like in that ballroom blitz or blitzkrieg pop kind of realm of like everyone kind of knows what that is, and it's kind of a weird song. You'll hear it in like Donkey Konga, but in a chamber by itself, it's an oddball. But like the fun thing too is that B-52s are not like a one hit wonder or that they like load the album to, you know, they have the one big song and everything else is kind of a wash. There is I think a good variety of stuff here. Like the second side too, I like after Rome, I think is pretty even keeled. I like Channel Z, I like Topaz. No, just having just solid songs all around is just nice.
It's surprisingly how consistent this album is in quality. Like I don't think any song over here goes into like best songs of all time list or anything like that. It's in the end, I wouldn't call it passable. That's an insult to it. I think it's genuinely good songs in here, but for what is basic, I wouldn't call it even a novelty hit, but it is an obscure hit in a sense in which I think people were listening in the sense of because it was weird, or I guess I don't know the best way to explain it, but people who can do English better than me can instead put words in my mouth.
It's quirky.
Yeah,
Correct. There you go.
it's like watching a John Waters
And
movie.
the album itself, I'll reuse words that I haven't technically said, is pretty quirky. I think there's a lot of just weird topics that I guess they go into about it. I mean, it seems like the opening song is about aliens. And then there's
and shaking your ass at aliens.
And then they talk about the president, I think, in the second one.
Honestly, I'm surprised with the amount of like ass obsession and the whole aliens with 2023. We haven't had a comeback for Cosmic Thing.
I mean, that's from Earth Girls Are
Honestly,
Easy.
probably
That's
deserves
an
it.
alien movie, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
I think that's like supposed to be a send of like
Fair.
50s sci-fi or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have Deadbeat Club, which is more of a track about kind of not having a job and just kind of existing. Having just friends that do the same
there.
thing. They do tackle quite a bit. And I think Channel Z is supposed to be more of like an environmental song.
Good shit.
Yeah.
It's one of the most interesting tricks picks, surprisingly.
Yeah. I mean, it's the B-52s. You can't go wrong with them.
I mean, I won't join the fan club. I'm not that into it, but I mean,
Fred Schneider just seems like a cool dude, and I'd love to smoke a joint with him.
I would happily come along to the any public introduction day they do if they got a complimentary bar.
Oh yeah, Earth Girls Are Easy. Yep, this is an alien movie. Now Rogers did the music entirely, so that checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, good album.
Good album.
My favorites include Love Shack, Crazy Enough, and I quite like Rome. And to give an offcut or two, Channel Z, Topaz, those are all pretty good. My least favorite's probably Dry County or Deadbeat Club.
See, I put Deadbeat Club and Cosmic Thing into my favorites. I'll put Rome in there as well. Love Shack, it's not as good as I say. Like, it's fine. It's not the worst song. I just think there is actually better on here. I think I prefer Rome. Least favorite's probably like something like Bushfire.
No least favorites, all bangers.
And Love Shack has one of those stories too where it was like the last thing they did because they had extra time in the studio, and it was like, hey, let's put some stuff together we've been working on and kind of mash it up and see what happens. And there you go. You get one of your biggest hits just by kind of working on the fly. So I guess good job for that.
Yep.
Anyone want to pick another album?
Let's go into the definition of not consistent, because holy shit, a lot happens in that. Let's do a lobster, bee, and cicada walk into a bar and find God.
Okay, yeah. This split EP with Lobsterfight, Gingerbee, Cicadahead, and Godfuck.
Yeah, I picked this because why would I not pick this? I absolutely loved Lobsterfight's album last year, despite what you two think. This has 4 different artists in the scene on it, and then after you're done, you forget that was actually only 9 minutes, because this is probably one of the more chaotic EPs that we've done, but it's good. I think they all put out for a really flowing EP.
I listened to this twice and I have no memory of it.
Well, if you buy it, you actually get a 5th track as well, which is an instrumental by Lobsterfight, Spaghetti Sassy.
Oh.
But
I did not buy this.
It's instrumental. It's fun to have. But Trix, you did not remember this. But how could you not remember Lobsterfight just doing a Beach Boys song? Like, they're like, fuck everything else.
I have no idea. It's just nothing is sticking out in my mind.
I just love that Lobsterfight was like, hey, I know we're known for being really chaotic and jazzy, but like we're gonna kind of do that a little bit. Hey, but here's like a Beach Boys like 60s throwback. Hell yeah.
It's oddly the most coherent song, and I mean they're probably always going to be the most this had some pretty experimental artists on it, so I don't even know what to fucking think coming into this, but yeah, it's still got that Lobsterfight jazz going into it, but it is, just like a random Beach Boys fucking song.
Like, it's just clean. It's like I don't mean to make this sound dismissive, but it's like they just sat down and like, hey, let's do a pop song. What can we do with a pop song? And here we are.
Tell you what, they did a good job at it.
Apparently,
I think every song...
It's going to be on an upcoming project, they said. There'll be a different version of it. So I'm curious what that'll be.
Well, it says Damp Spot's short, so it's probably going to be an even longer version. That's what I can only assume. But yeah, this is basically the claustrophobia pop, which seems to be the actual term for shitpost emo. Collaboration EP, or like if you wanted a sample of what it sounds like, this is probably the best example of what it sounds like so far. That Gingerbee song starts off with the Astef movie sample, ends off with the same sample, and shit, it's the second shortest song on here, but fucking hell, a lot happens in that.
Yeah, these songs are
chaotic
really
as
packing
fuck.
Shit in. Like,
and there's a comparison that I'm gonna make to another album that's been picked this week, and there's two ways you can describe an album. One is they do so much, which I would describe as EP, and then there's one that I would say that they do too much. And in here, like I don't think it's free from criticism or anything. Some of this gets a bit too hard to digest at times, I will admit. but no one's doing anything here that they're not sure how to do, or everyone does think at least that things are working with the song, and we have all these different parts that go in and they'll flow and stuff and creates a bit of chaos. Whilst the other one, I think it's that I would describe, and it would be pretty obvious which one I'm talking about. When they do all these different things, none of them are done well, or they all fight each other in a way that's it makes the listening experience a lot less entertaining.
I actually don't know which one you're talking about.
We'll get there when we get there.
Well, I'm ready to fight if you're talking about what I think you're talking about. But
we will fight later.
No, yeah, like I like having this because we haven't really covered any of these bands aside from Lobsterfight. Gingerbee is kind of been making the rounds this year, I feel like, and I've heard Godfuck here and there. You know, we will look back at you and they'll be forever has talked about working with Godfuck a little bit. So there is a lot of upcoming shit happening, but this is a really solid little split EP, a really nice little benchmark of sorts.
I just realized as well that the crab and the kitty skeleton, or it's a lobster, sorry, and the kitty skeleton, they're both drinking pop and playing it. I wonder if that's supposed to be a claustrophobia pop thing there as well, or if that's just coincidence. But that's on the cover art.
I mean, they're walking into a bar.
Yeah. It is a. I'm pretty sure it's done by the lobsterfight people, or whoever does the art for lobsterfight people as well, the artwork on here. But it is a very, very cute and probably fitting album art. It's just the lobster, the cat fairy, or whatever it's supposed to be, cat fairy skeleton. And then there's just a shit ton of bees in the background, which is supposed to be. Only one of them's got a halo.
Only one of them's got a mustache. Yeah, one of the mustache.
You completely lagged out for that Nicolas Cage reference.
The what?
You're not the bees reference cut out.
Oh yeah, I'd made a not the bees joke.
One bee has glasses too. Very cute.
And then we talked a little bit about Godfuck being on this, but Godfuck just basically made it a very soft acoustic track to end this. Now, obviously, there's a lot that happened. There's a lot more to it, but it's the least chaotic out of this. It's the most accessible out of this, and I still don't even think it's really accessible.
Yeah, there's like a somewhat warbly electronic stuff happening, kind of a bit in there, and then it kind of gets into that chugga scramsy moments later on. So it kind of like lulls you into that acousticness. Like it's pretty serious about that, and then it kind of throws the fifth wave at you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the one that there's talk about is the third track, but that's also the shortest.
Yeah, there's not much like changes or anything that happen in that song or anything. It's probably the most consistent song on here, but it is just a very fast-paced minute from Cicadahead, and that's I think I've heard what was their album? I mean that's what those fairy wings that are on the cover are or the cat skeleton is Cicadahead, because it's from their album Songs for Bugs, which I've given a little listen to in my spare time, and they are very. I don't want to call the ripoff or anything like that when I'm saying this. I don't think I'm saying it like this, but they are very Your Arms Are My Cocoonies.
I mean that's definitely a style that Fifth Wave has been experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to realize the more I listen to this, just how much Your Arms Are My Cocoon has inspired a lot of these artists.
Yeah, it's kind of oh, anyone can do scrams now, even me.
And to think that Domino and I saw him without really knowing it.
Yeah.
Bobby's first Scrams album.
Just came on stage and played with like the violin or something like that, or something like a fiddle or something.
Yeah.
Have you seen Have you seen the later live shows from Your Arms Are My Cocoon? Like the ones that I posted.
I didn't watch them now.
When I posted that whole hype. It's very polished. It's weird to hear the songs with like an actual band.
No, I'm sure. I do also want to kind of shout out the gingerbee song a little bit. Like going for more of a chip tuney. There's some like dynamic pacing going on there. That fast, slow, fast kind of thing. I kind of liked that. I don't think it struck me as much as Damp Spots, but that's also because we've listened to Lobster Fight quite a bit.
You finally have been Stockholm syndromed into Lobster Fight.
Hey, you show me.
You will now go back.
You show me where they keep expanding their sound, and I'm gonna be excited.
This is a nice little split EP. It's great. I like. We've basically covered now two EP or compilation EPs. We're gonna call them. The other one being the in 25th Rave. The other one being the I Became Birds tribute, which Lobster Fight was on again. So that's 9 artists that have been covered on these kind of compilations.
We'll be dealing with Lobster Fight again later in this episode as well.
I know. They are not they're not slow working.
No. And maybe it is Stockholm
Prolific.
syndrome. Maybe it's just my ears are adjusting. I'm like a rabbit.
Maybe you finally got the sun soaking.
My ears are twitching. They're adjusting. They're like little satellites. Gotta give it time to settle in.
Favorites of this are Damp Spots, and honestly, I like Desmond and Moonbear. I think it's very chaotic in the right way. I'd say my least favorite, and I don't even hate it. It's probably Blackout Rage Gallon 2.
Is it called 2? Was it Gallon 2?
Yeah, it's Blackout Rage Gallon 2. That's what it is in Spotify list.
It's not on Bandcamp though, and I think it was on iTunes, but I got really confused because it's not that on Bandcamp.
I saw several Borgs yesterday, not even lying. It was a big Cornell weekend, and I saw like 15 at least just abandoned Borgs.
I also like Damn Spots and Desmond the Moonbear. Like at Rage Gallon 1 or 2, whatever it is. Probably my least favorite. Spaghetti Sassy, is cool, but also it's a bonus track, so it's not as interesting to me. But it's fun.
404 page not found.
Ritz?
Who wants to pick the next? I've said my favorites and least favorites.
I thought you were looking something up, like you had something else to say.
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's
Now, I wanna know if we're gonna fight or not. So I think I'm gonna take a chance here and pick the bigger boot EP.
in which I'd say this is the one that I think there's a lot of sounds that are fighting each other.
Disagree vehemently.
Is that what you think I think about?
Yes.
Is that what you think I think about this? It's
Yes.
not. No.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't. No. Not.
Then we might be in agreement. Cool. If it's the other one I think you're thinking about, then I'll probably agree with you. But
let me just say this was the other thing that was lost to my laptop dying right before we started recording.
the bigger boot EP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, my
it's not on
condolences.
streaming, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Weirdly, A Fork for My Fingers is now on streaming.
That's
It's been
right.
streaming for
Oh, it has been?
for a long time.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was like Bandcamp exclusive when we covered it.
I think it was that
Nope.
either. But I really like this EP a lot. It's different, but I really like the exploration of field recordings, talking about Neutral Milk Hotel a little bit. Like they're not necessarily as like interesting or weird as what Jeff Mangum put together, but I like the idea that Cameron's just putting these like old clips and like random bits and pieces he has lying around into this. There's a bit of like memory and documentary aspect to it that I'm interested in, kind of interspersed with the other regular songs.
It's a weird thing for me. I think there's moments in this EP in which I'm treating this EP as and it's an experimentation more than it is a full-fledged release like A Fork on My Fingers.
Sure.
I think this is Cameron trying some things out, trying a different sound out, and then releasing the results, which is why I feel like the .mp4 skits, we'll call them, it's a weird inclusion in here because it seems, in a sense, I get why you appreciate it. It's fair enough, but I think it is just padding out this EP more than it needs to be, and I wanted to love this EP a lot more than I end up actually loving this. Because when I heard, oh, this is going to be a tree type of EP, I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see what type of sound. And to the most part, he's gone very, very standard. I don't think he's brought his own sound into tree here. I think he's just tried to make a tree EP, but it doesn't really get interesting until cut, and then it's over.
Yes and no. I don't know. I can't really call the .mp4 stuff just skits or something, because they are interspersed evenly throughout. There is just about as many as there are other songs, really. So I think they're meant to be taken in equal measure. I mean, it's just kind of a part documentary field recording, part twee, or like I think there's enough like fifth wave emo and stuff going on there to like still included as part of the scene too. Like it's an interesting mishmash of different things.
My favorite fifth wave emo song is Stage 2 Gambia Performance 2018.
I was very surprised that was there, and we'll talk about why when we get to some of my picks.
Yep.
But I do like this idea that he's like putting school stuff in there, but then also having these other songs come through. And like there's a lot of interesting like sound he's using, and like percussion especially. Like the first song, Mo, or is it Moe or Mo? I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be an anime reference or not. But
probably going to be an anime reference. Just got a little hunch about that.
Yeah. But on there was that cat purring, and then there was like this really wavy kind of like electronic sound that was kind of happening. It sounded like a Sega Saturn sound startup. So I was really digging that. The Sega Saturn sound is quite relaxing, and that seems to be kind of what Moe is going for, is that kind of relaxing vibe, and like the cat purring and whatnot. And then you get that like real quick thunk 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 from the first MP4 that gets you right into Basil. So there's almost like a little bit of a theater to this that weirdly enough ties back into like the performances and the like drum lessons and whatnot. A sense of performance and stage and all that.
And yeah, and I get the whole kind of the interesting thing that we've got with all these memory things. I mean, they're not in. Oh, they are in chronological. Sorry, that's a weird thing, and it's, or at least the title's in there, but it's got some just. I mean, there's one. I'm calling them skits where I'm pretty sure it's him. Basically, it sounds like a live performance that's already happening. He's asking where certain artists are from, something like that, and getting cheers from the crowd.
Yeah. I assume that's like him going to see someone like Tim Impala or something.
I'm not too sure. I haven't actually searched up most of the things on here, and it is interesting having basically a story in these interludes. Which yeah, you're right. That is a cool idea that's been put in here, but I feel like they could have been saved for something a bit more full-fledged. I think it's. I mean, I guess if it's an experimental EP as it is in this case, and we're going experimental not in the sake of what it sounds like, but him trying something new, maybe you can start trying these ideas and stuff. But I feel like if we're going to be putting out a story in these cases, I feel like it'd just be better having it in that kind of whole full-fledged, even if it is still something on the size lengthwise. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the story is just a little wasted here.
A little abstract. But I mean, the thing to Do we know if Cameron was doing stuff in a major way before Bigger Boot? Like I know he was working on stuff. But I don't know if he ever like quite released anything.
Did we forget to ask that in the interview?
Like he was talking about like making
Fuck.
on like how some songs were like from 2020 roughly. And clearly on here, you know, he has like significant like band history and whatnot and like school. But yeah, we could have asked that more. But my point being, his first big release was A Fork in My Fingers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't had the opportunity to kind of fuck around, like comparatively to, you know, someone who's put out a few EPs first, or someone who's trying with like really crude DIY Your Arms Are My Cocoon style home recordings. Like A Fork in My Fingers is crude in parts, but there's so much happening in that album. It's so layered and so just put together interestingly that like it's kind of amazing that it's somebody's first release and then we have this as a follow-up. And it's so different.
And I know how different it is. I mean, it's. I believe he said before anyway. It's not supposed to be the follow up. So
Sure, fair. Like it's not literally the follow-up.
Take that as it is. Yeah, but it is at the current moment like new Bigger Boot, which we were waiting for since we first covered it. And I mean, in the end, I do think it's interesting hearing these different sounds and him going for it. But I just don't really get too interested into it and until it's over, which is why I'm disappointed. I think there are some like he's not writing shit acoustic music or anything like that. Let's not put that out as it is. But I think in the end, we are hearing the most comparable artist. I think we could probably compare it to is Postcard Nowhere.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Because that's another artist who usually works a blend doing the more acoustic songs. And I mean, even on A Fork in My Fingers, we got some slower paced songs, specifically at the end. I mean, a song by the curb at the edge of the world is one of the slower songs.
I think there's another
on there, so it's not like this is. Yeah, well, it's not like it's something that's completely out of left field. But I think so far his big draw for me is always when he's putting out more experimental or more truly alternative sounds, even if they aren't probably the most unique. I mean, the end of Cut sounds like an Elf Montreal song.
Yeah. I can dig that. Yeah, absolutely. Basil was a song.
And in Montreal comparison we've had this year.
I think we're all just gearing up for our eventual Montreal coverage.
As you were saying, Dominic?
I think Basil is interesting as well because that to me at times sounds in the best way possible, Ritz, like you were trying to pursue your sound in the same way. Like if you were making your tracks to this level, you would make something like Basil.
I don't know if that's an insult.
It's not.
And I don't know who to.
Like, I know you do what you do, and you are, you know, you put out good stuff. I like covering your stuff. But if you were trying to do, like, the traditional song structure, you know, something that's like a legit fifth wave emo entry, it would be Basil.
Sports Ball, the original trilogy, is pre-fifth wave emo.
Yes, it is.
Apparently.
Roughly. Like 2018.
Proto, I think.
Proto fifth wave.
I created shitpost emo.
But even a song like Torch has some nice stuff. Like there's a calm Animal Crossing part to it, and then you kind of have the electric guitar, which there is some electric guitar, but that was like the song where I'm like, oh, there isn't a ton. So having that focus on it was really nice. But there was a lot of vibes. There was a lot of vibes that kind of make me feel like I'm gonna be interested in Cameron's stuff no matter what he releases at this point. I think he's just one of those artists for me at the moment. I'm just like, if you're interested in putting it out and you really want to do it, I kind of just want to hear what you're doing.
That's a fair take.
Yeah, this was kind of just a circumstantial blender for me, given the death of my laptop. But I enjoyed what I listened to while I was playing Doom for the GBA.
Yeah.
I'm Too Young to Die, because that's how I like to unwind in the evenings.
That's totally valid. Play some Doom, listen to some tshh, have fun.
Yes, but blender, but I will listen more and I will enjoy. I'm
That's
sure.
very brave, and not brave because Australian, but I thought it was very fun to release this on 9/11.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we didn't get like a Home Is Where bonus track on 9/11.
It's this. This
honestly,
is the bonus
I'm
track.
surprised too. Yeah, this is bonus.
Fair.
Favorites, definitely Cut's the best song off here. Least favorite, probably something like 5C or Wrists.
Oh,
They just do nothing for me.
I like Wrists. I think Wrists is spelled wrong. I just want to mention that Wrists is spelled wrong, and that
Yeah.
I like Basil. I like Cut too. Wrists. My least favorite's vid underscore 2016 717 underscore 1916 xx.mp4, because that's just 3 hits of percussion. And maybe it's meant to introduce the album,
Boom,
but you know,
boom.
or maybe it's 6 hits actually.
What's the
But either way,
what's the next one? What are we covering?
it's 6 beats. I apologize, not 3. But yes. So, what else are we covering? This is Cameron releasing his own school band performance. So let's follow it up by talking about the other school band performance that we're covering this week. The Taylormade Septet's Taylormade EP. The most obscurest fucking thing we could possibly cover. I might have the only existing CD of this.
What the fuck? Maybe you should not have the only existing CD of it anymore.
Yeah.
Chicks is asking you to destroy the CD live on tape.
I mean,
it's just a live performance. It's fine.
It's jazz. I mean, the actual significance of this is that in lieu of having anything from the Wombologists, which was a band that Lucas Skoukas and I both really enjoyed in our local scene, band leader Nick Fattore and some people were in jazz bands as well. And this is like the one performance that they released on CD for some reason, and I have it. And you can definitely hear Nick Fattore in the first track leading the band, which I thought was very funny. So shout out to him. Hope he's doing well. But yeah,
I just don't really know how we can talk about this other than it exists. I think it's funny that it exists. I think if you want to use this time to talk about the Rombologist, I would happily suggest you do a solo show here, Dominic, for this little segment, because I've got nothing to really say about the album or the EP in this sense. I think it's funny that it exists.
I do have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Maybe throw it up on the YouTube.
We could.
We did that with Seismic.
We did.
To this day, I don't think it's been taken down.
I mean, who's gonna take it down? Who's gonna dox us for or copyright claim us for fucking Seismic? But yeah, so I'll do a little solo show for this. This appeared roughly around 2010, I want to say, around like freshman year of high school. So this is pretty early on. This is, you know, and like even in the performances, these are teenagers doing jazz. You know, this is suburban kids doing jazz. It's a little rough sometimes, and there's some passion, but you know, it's stuff like "Girl from Ipanema" that you just kind of hear and you're like, oh, I kind of know this song. That's fun. I can't tell if it was like recorded during lunch or something like that, because there's so much background noise that it's kind of like, if this is like a regular performance, the audience is being rather fucking rude. But if it's like a lunch thing, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But It's 4 tracks. They don't have names. The second track, they kind of the first track they're kind of getting into. The second track they're a little bit more together and less loose, a little less flubby. There it is kind of what it is. There's a little bit of applause, which is kind of cute. Track 3 is a little bit more. I don't know the other songs like 2, 3, and 4. I don't know them offhand. So I was like, yeah, this one sounds a little bit more 60s, a little bit more relaxed. Nick played the trumpet, so I think the trumpet solos in track 3 are his. And I did dig the piano that was being done. As a former piano player, I do like some nice piano. But yeah, that's kind of it, you know. It's a weird memory that I don't even know if I have, but nonetheless, this CD exists from some point in my teenage years, and for better or worse, we have now covered it in the best way that we can, because what is there to talk about? But also, it's the most obscure thing we've done.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll throw it up on the YouTube.
Pretty funny.
And I've only found one reference to the Taylormade Septet online, and that it was referenced through another local jazz group. That there was somebody that was in.
I was gonna say Beach Bunny didn't fucking open for them again, did they?
No, I wish. Yeah, the one apologist I think disappeared by like 2010, 2011 as it is. So, you know, maybe a little bit later. So a lot of the band overlapping. Yes, it did, but like with this, but with the bands we've covered, like Skeletubbies, I think there was a little bit of gap between that. So I can see why Lucas was talking about, you know, wanting to keep that spirit alive and cover stuff like Against Me songs and all that. Because that was the stuff that was cool. That was the stuff that, you know, you went to those shows for. So, yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was really funny that Cameron was releasing band performances. There's a band performance. What a weird connection that is. I don't really have any favorites, at least favorites. It's just a little weird memory that it just exists on a CD and now is on files and digital online.
Fascinating.
Beautiful.
All right. We ready to dig into the bad thing?
Yep.
All right. One of the other things I picked was a EP or album called Making Friends by Rock Walls and Tall Women. I was friends with the drummer in high school, but I don't know if he actually drums on the album. It's very unclear. He's in everything media-wise, but not credited. So whatever. It's
This is the one I was on about.
It's not good. The band name is the best thing about it.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that it's the reason that it's not good isn't because of the talent of anyone performing in here. Everybody who does their individual parts in this do it quite well. This is actually surprisingly really clean sounding. The problem and the fault that comes with it is, as I was describing, each one of those individual parts fights with each other, in which it sounds like too much is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the thing that some people that really want to break into music kind of fall into, is that they want things to sound epic all the time, or they want to really make an impact on you.
Yeah.
And so they try to amp up every single song to that point, when it's like you really don't need to.
I'd honestly even go as far to say that you don't need it at all, because some of like the albums that have had like the biggest impacts on me are some of like the most low-key things you'll ever hear.
Well, like Mount Erie's A Crow Looked at Me, which is probably one of the most minimalistic albums that we've ever done, and that's made us all cry.
Oh God, I can't even like make it through the first song.
Like I think
This, I'm just quickly saying what I was going to say. This sounds like they're trying to sound like Mumford and Sons after Mumford and Sons' popularity had already peaked.
I kind of equated them to like Christian kids that got into Christian music and MCR and Panic at the Disco at the same time, trying to release something that satisfies both audiences.
Yeah, it's...
I'm going to be honest, Domino, while we're kind of discussing this, I did none of the extra homework for this EP.
Either did
I
Rich.
didn't
It's
want
fine. It doesn't really matter. Like,
I don't think we're missing much.
There's more rapping. It is what it is. Like,
okay,
I'm very glad.
I'm
The rapping
glad
was
I did
one
not
of the
listen.
worst. It was one of the worst parts of this. Ugh.
yeah, that holiday song really is something. And like, the singer isn't totally terrible in the singing part of it, but like his rapping is like Macklemore meets the Lonely Island in the worst way possible.
It's
And like,
very white. It's very white guy of the time.
yes.
Well, the problem is that it's also 2016, which is a bit after that time.
Yeah.
So it's outdated when it came out. And look, it's probably just a bunch of people who are trying to break into the music scene, whatever. This band was never meant to be big, whatever. And like I say, everybody themselves, individual parts, have got talent in there. I think I didn't really look into the lyrics, so I can't tell you the songwritings in that sense is good or bad. But in the actual structure of all the songs, they're doomed to fail from the start. There's no way to make them sound good, and they just needed to be written so much better. And then we could have potentially had what would have been just a really nice existing album. This one, actually after the second song, I was like, okay, look, not into this, but I can appreciate it. And then it just kept going, and this dragged. This wasn't the longest thing we listened to, but I felt it. This dragged.
It was a train wreck, but not a fun train wreck.
I mean, the thing
I wouldn't even call it a train wreck, because the thing is, it's just like a train wreck makes it sound like it was originally on path, but it just wasn't. This was always doomed to fail.
And like
it's
again,
the train wreck where they would smash two engines together in the 1800s because they didn't have drugs yet.
And like we don't cover Christian music generally, and that's kind of what this turns into being. I feel like there's a lot of God talk and like kind of that to use their word, haughty religiousness of like. There's like a line in one of the later songs of like, I went for a run and I was just thinking about, the world and the things I would keep and the things I would get rid of. And it's like, who the fuck does that? And like, I don't want to come at it necessarily for that, but I do not think that mentality helps the songs. I think it only adds to kind of like this idea of like, I need every song to perform to, whether that's like a ministry thing or
hold on, Dominic, hold on.
Yeah.
Chicks, you just sneezed.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Fuck.
And like it's all a little bit weird to have, especially when you also mix that with a song that's about gym bros, and you have stuff like saying that you're bigger than the Taliban and his head is amazing and or whatever the fuck, it's ablazing. He's perfect.
That's some real Emily Monster sex lyrics right there.
I still feel like I shouldn't have listened to Emily Montes. I feel like it's permanently altered my psyche. Like I just feel bad for the girl.
That was the best April Fool's present I could have ever given you to, and that's usually the key to say.
I felt like I also paired it up pretty well with D.D. King.
Oh yeah, well D.D. King, I never want to listen to again. But
I blocked it out of my memory until Dominic reminded me.
I think the fact that we're talking about Emily Montes and D.D. King is probably about as insulty as we can get. So maybe we should wrap this one up. I think we stop talking to other things.
That's kind of where we are with this. I feel like that this is not really our thing. I cover this more out of like just wanting to kind of revisit it a little bit from my vague memories years ago and the curiosity of it.
So, it's just fair.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't expecting it to be huge, but
expecting it to be better.
Yeah.
Along that lines, I one of these days I gotta pull out my buddy who's a furry musician and he's like pretty big in the scene.
Oh, Fifth Ray Mimo.
Do you know Will Toledo?
No, I do not.
That's fourth wave.
It's the only furry musician I know of, so I'll have to meet and greet.
I did Shrek with them.
Well, no favorites with this.
Yeah.
Audie is a special mention least favorite for that video that I posted the link to. I think just illustrates my feelings on that. It's not a easy watch in the sense that I just think it's kind of cringy.
Yeah, I didn't even do the video watch. I'm going to be honest, and this is a rarity for me. The only times that I usually don't give a thing a full listen is when I've forgotten. I didn't listen to the live track, so I technically didn't finish this album. And I think this is the first time since 2019 that I just did not finish an album on purpose.
Damn.
What did you finish in 2019?
I have no... Well, that's when we started.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I just have no intentions of ever going back to it. It exists, man, but it's
yeah.
It's sometimes it's just better off just being a relic of the past. But that is sometimes music.
Yeah. We gotta document the bad as well as the good.
This is the equivalent of you walking out of the theater for a movie.
The only time I've ever wanted to walk out of a theater, my family's been there, so I've kind of just had to stay. And that was Star Wars.
I wanted to walk out on Mockingjay Part 2 so fucking bad.
Funnily
My
enough,
mom made me see it. I didn't even see Mockingjay Part 1.
as a little kid, I had to walk out of episode 2 Attack of the Clones because I ate too much popcorn and I almost threw up.
Do you want to know the weirdest movie I walked out of?
What?
James Bond Goldfinger.
Huh.
They were doing we had an old theater that would show old movies occasionally, and my grandparents took me to see it because they thought I would like it, and I was just too young for it.
Yeah, I could see that. But I guess my other question I was curious about is this better or worse than Alex Boniello?
I don't even want to answer. I don't even want to think
I don't either.
Yeah.
I would like to reference an old tweet of mine where I tweeted something like, Fleet Foxes could release 60 minutes of continuous just warm, soupy diarrhea sounds, and I would defend it as a good album. If Fleet Foxes released this album somehow, I would not defend it.
Okay. And on that note,
abstain.
Let's flip over to something that's good. Let's talk about Daisy and the Scouts.
Okay. This album fucks hard.
This is the I honestly, the second that I heard the opening stuff for Nice Nice, which is my least favorite part of the album, is the fuck, marry, kill thing, which is just so out of place.
A can of rigatoni on the street.
Yeah, no, the second that line got said, I'm like, so that's why Trix picked this. I thought this was too sexual for Trix, but no. No, there comes the rigatoni. And
Yeah.
Clicked.
Yeah, it's pretty. I didn't. When I first listened to this, I did not listen to the lyrics at all. I'm just like, oh yeah, I really like these beats. This fucks hard. Oh, rigatoni.
There's a song about being mad at a porn star in this.
Yeah.
Well, he did.
Which, if you've ever seen the allegations, yeah.
Apparently,
yeah. If you've seen the allegations against James, if you've seen the allegations against James Dean, it is absolutely fucked. So that's fair, but it talks about basically a regret of masturbating to a certain porn star because they're a rapist, and these are the type of topics that I love to hear about because it is a mixture of what the fuck and actually that's cool.
Yeah, there's like an angle to it.
Wet is about like being aroused and crying at the same time.
I just think this is one of those situations where they just got it. It's like lightning in the bottle almost. It's just like they just fucking recorded it and put it out, and like that's it. That's the only album they ever did. But it's a great fucking debut.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
They split up and did other things. Like it was just a college band, and they went their separate ways. Just kind of, as time went on.
So they definitely. I don't even think they
are too unique in their sound as well, but I feel like with a lot of these types of bands, they are very similar. Like, I could hear the greats in this, I could hear screaming females in this. I don't know exactly what the timings match up on all these bands. I know the greats are definitely way before. So, I'm not going to lie and say I hear any Slater Kinney or anything. It's not like it's all what we'll call with usually Friday. A genre for this is usually either the feminist pop punk or what there seem to be in a bunch of playlists on Spotify called queercore, which I believe Petrol Girls are also usually.
This was one of those TikTok blow-ups where they got found. People started fucking using it for all their TikToks, and here we are.
I would fuck the Furbies, marry the rigatoni, and kill the cyst.
But yeah, no, this is good album. It's a very short. It's a 25-minute release. It's only 7 songs on here. I do think the last song here is a bit. It takes me a bit out of it with that skit at the start, and then it takes a while. But when it builds off and has the payoff, it's a really fucking nice payoff. There were some really catchy pop punk moments on this record as well. It's like, yeah, it is a bit of. It's not lightning in the bottle in a way of this is. Like say back when they only had one album, like the Avalanches, where they did the one album and dipped basically. I feel like that's more the lightning in the bottle, in which that's something that was absolutely unique, completely that. But I think this is a very solid release.
I think the vocalist is really great. I think the choices they made, the diversity of the songs. Like,
I have a feeling a lot of the songs were inspired by like DMs or just messages, because I have gotten some messages.
Like Grown and Wet into James Dean, they're just different vibes. Like James Dean's kind of that doo-woppy like throwback, and the thing with Nice, the skit, you might not like it, but for 7 tracks, it packs a lot of different ideas together in a way that's relatively coherent.
Yeah. And I quite like the skit, because it gives this vibe of you're just watching this band practice, and this is what they're talking about between the songs.
The stupider line is at the end of the album. Hey, we're Daisy and the Scouts, and we're your new step parents.
The Scouts, and we're your new step parents. Which I will say a couple times, Google or YouTube Music auto played a song by Sorry Mom called "I Fucked Your Mom," which great comedic timing. YouTube Music.
Sorry Mom, of course, isn't that the people that work with Petite League?
I think so. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, no, they were on they.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together. Oh my god, fuck.
It's starting to blow up a bit, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, I really dug this. This surprised me at how good it was.
It fucks.
Yeah.
In both sense of the word.
The comments on the nice genius page is, I like my new step parents. They say bad words.
I had the fucking chorus to Wet stuck in my head at work all day. Which, that is a weird song to have stuck in your head.
I can imagine.
Which part? The "It keeps me wet, you keep me wet till I run dry," or the opening to the full chorus?
My teardrops are wetter than the space between my thighs, specifically.
Again, some really nice vocals on that part. Like, the vocal performance overall just...
It's so much wetter than the space between my thighs. Oh, I can't help it thinking about you. It's a good album.
Like,
I will say you don't really. I'd say you don't really hear much breakup songs in which the vocalist will be so comfortable talking about how they're masturbating after a breakup.
Yeah.
Even when the singer switches to one of the other band members for Sweet 16, the style is similar enough that it's not that noticeable unless you're looking for it. I feel like.
Yeah. And then I think Nice they're all just kind of swapping.
Yeah, like
There's 3 vocalists, I believe.
I did not notice Nice at all. I think it worked really well for, they have
Shave
the
your
style.
pubes in the shape of my nipples. Take your shirt off, let me see those lady nipples.
That sounded like the new wave version of the song.
Fair enough. I'm too tired to be singing. I've been up since fucking 8 in the morning, and it's 3 in the morning now, and I'm only on like 4 hours of sleep. So
now I'm just hearing Fred Schneider do those lines.
Fuck. Do I have a new project? Fred Schneider sings horny punk songs.
Fred Schneider does the fuck, marry, kill part 2. Fuck, marry, kill.
So today I'm announcing that I'm leaving the podcast.
Why?
It's peaked from here. I don't want to be along for the downhill ride.
I am fucking delirious right now.
I don't know.
My cat walked over to me because he was concerned.
I don't need an autism diagnosis. I'm on dissonant waves.
So are you a virgin? God. Nice. What color are your panties?
Are you touching yourself?
This album's great.
Oh god.
My favorites are Wet and James Dean, You Let Us Down, or Let Me Down, whatever it is. Least favorite is probably Maggot.
All bangers, no least favorites. Genuinely, I just fucking love this album.
I like Grown and Wet the most. My least favorite's probably Maggot as well. Alright. We got some things left. Someone else pick.
What have we got left? I think we've got 3 albums or something, or 3 picks left. We got... Oh, you know what? Let's finish off Dominic's ones, because they only got 1 left and then it's just 2 of mine.
Yeah.
Bosses.
So let's talk about your best pick.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, this
easily.
is the best pick of the week. Yeah.
This new shoegaze project in Chicago. Lucas is now the bassist, I believe. I think these tracks were made before he joined the band, but there's 4 songs.
Hell yeah.
These
are fun.
It's a pretty nice debut. It's interesting hearing somebody else that's, someone outside of our sphere of people have someone from the people that we've covered so much now kind of, into the fold and hearing what they can do.
Yeah.
This is actually really well produced, really just well executed shoegaze. It's not cutting edge at the moment, but I mean, yeah, the differences between I know it's, if we're going with the Lucas Skookus trend, it doesn't technically stop there. But the difference from fucking Cardinal Heart to this, and this journey we've gone on has been wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a journey, huh? That's why I love this show, that we can do shit like this, and it's like this long, ever-changing project, like 2 years down the line, here we are. And
her vocals are so good on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harley Young is the main person. Yeah. This is her project. Now it has 5 people in it. Now the thing is, Grief Eater has about 200 monthly listeners on Spotify. This band's already racked up 98,000.
God damn. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you're just talking about listens on the song, or
On Spotify, just monthly listeners.
Yeah. Well, monthly listeners, it's 8.6 thousand for buses.
Really?
Not 98. Yeah.
Yeah, 98 was the.
Oh, you
I
said
don't know. On YouTube, I can't ever really comment on any of this because YouTube Music is fucking weird. It shows me subscriber counts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
monthly listeners is 8,000. Where did I get 98? Did I just get it from Jokes itself or something?
No,
Overkill
has
over
has
100,000 now.
100,000.
Yeah, it went up by 2,000 since I made this made these notes. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Yeah, no. I was reminded of Seismic of all bands listening to this. I think
Second seismic reference of the episode.
Yeah, we're really doing the throwbacks today.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. That singing in Seismic has really just stuck with me, that vocalist, and I hear it everywhere I go now.
Honestly, that seismic
God,
album
machine
has like really,
shop.
really grown on me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a good album. It's still got massive flaws in it, but as an album,
Oh,
it's
it has
got great
flaws,
moments.
but it's gonna be one of those ones where like in 10 years I'll put it on and be like, oh yeah, seismic, they're good. And like I'll probably like show them off to friends and be like, this is a band that a friend discovered in the mythical land of Australia.
But they're
And
from Canada.
And the bands, yeah.
I mean,
And he bought it for $1.
at a
So like
thrift store?
$66 US. Or 66 cents.
Seismic is pretty foundational to our like early days, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise that it shows up here and there.
I kind of regret not being able to finish or giving up on doing all the lyric videos.
Still do it.
Yeah, we can always do it again one day. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll still got the CD.
because the plan was to like make them all like 2007, 2009 lyric videos, and I made the first one with the blue and the fucking text, and it was so taxing that I'm just like, fuck this now.
Well, if I'm uploading the Taylormade CD to the YouTube channel, you can figure something out, I'm sure, if you want.
Maybe.
Well, not to the YouTube channel, to a YouTube
A
channel.
YouTube channel,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one for Dominic Chikoki.
Maybe. All 5 people that want to hear
Along with
outside of
your
this
student
show.
film Beat. I hope I got that right.
You did. Thank you for the plug.
Fuck yeah.
I did not expect that.
I had to. I don't know where I pulled Beat out of, but it felt right.
Oh no. Your delirious you is a good you.
Good to know. I'm
Uh,
surprisingly sober too.
Yeah, but Boss is
I'm just fucking tired.
that's fair. That's fair. Bosses is pretty
One of the
shoegazy.
reasons I took so long in the bathroom is because I fell asleep on the toilet.
I'm not surprised.
Oh,
It's 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah.
But Bosses really grungy, really shoegazy.
This
Jokes
was
is almost a tease of an EP. There's only 3 tracks, and it's most of their discography, and it's like I want more. I want to know what they're gonna do next.
Yeah.
and just good EP. I mean, it's still like with Grief Eater, we'll compare it to because we're comparing it going step by step. I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in towards developing own sounds, going in, getting that big draw for why specifically listen to this band. But
Sure.
when it comes to getting all the basics, getting a well-produced EP out here, I mean, it's what it is. It's really well-produced. The vocals are great. The basic got all the basics down for shoegaze, and it does fuck. So
I think the new single Transcendental sounds, a bit different in that it has more layers.
yeah,
So I think that's notable at least. Like, yeah, they're already improving. They're already doing more. So, yeah, very curious.
Yeah.
Because Jokes came out in March. And I was pretty much just
They get
singles that they had.
they get the Dissonant Waves band to look out for seal of approval.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Any specific favorites or least favorites?
Transcendental's the best out of all of them.
Yeah, I'll
No
agree.
real least favorite.
I like Overkill. I like Transcendental. No real least favorite. What'd you say?
No one said anything.
I'll agree with Ritz entirely.
Sounds good. Now,
Speaking of Ritz, which Ritz book are we doing? Yeah,
let's do Tiny Little Houses.
Okay, good.
You
'Cause
ha-
that's the one I have less to say about. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm picking Tiny Little Houses because every person out there is gonna have a favorite sad white boy artist, and for me, that's Tiny Little Houses. And I got a new EP out this year, and I picked it. And Dominic, you had a take about this that you wrote down, which I thought was funny.
I think you mentioned this the first time we covered Tiny Little Houses, so I don't think it's my original take. But Jesus Christ, he sounds like Lorenzo.
I don't think I would have mentioned it.
I think
I
you
there
would compare
is-
them Petite League or something.
Maybe I can't remember the first time covered them was. Oh shit! It would have been Ritz record.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I mean, if you talk about, I guess, in like the high pitched voices and stuff like that, I can see it. There is. I swear there was also a part in this where it did feel like it had like that Spark Alaska get the xylophone shit out. I can't remember.
Every Day I Wake Up has a very DIY opening, very like lo-fi. So maybe.
Oh yeah, every day I wake, I find another reason it's a weirder one because that's like the original Tiny Little Houses song, and it's been re-recorded and now officially released.
So that was an original, like their original song.
Yes.
Okay, because I saw an article that talked about it from 2014.
Since like 2014 or something.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, did they edit this to add a new title in? Like, it's in the Discord. I posted it, so I was very surprised. Okay, so it is original song that they redone. That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah, fully re-recorded because I've listened to both versions. It used to just kind of exist on their SoundCloud and then just didn't exist anymore, and then now it's back out, and that's why it's got. I think they've kept a lot of that very lo-fi sound in there as kind of like a whole throwback to that, but it is definitely a lot cleaner sounding. I think it's a bit shorter as well, and a bit it's re-recorded, remade.
I think that's also there's a reason that that's an EP then, probably just to kind of give it some space, give it a little bit of fanfare, a few songs that kind of tie with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some moments on this EP which do actually, I think, are really great moments that happen on here. But in the rest of it, it is just acoustic Tiny Little Houses.
Yeah, it's cute. I think they remind me of.
I mean, Poison.
Microphones, but
I mean, they definitely have Microphones influence. There's a line in "Drag Me," which is, "I took my shirt off in the yard. My shoulders were no longer golden. Had a panic attack." That's obviously a reference to the Go God too.
Quite clearly.
I've taken my shirt off in the yard plenty of times.
I mean, when I saw
all over my shirt.
When I saw Tiny Little Houses at the record store doing that little play and signing, they played a cover of Neutral Milk Hotel.
Oh,
they've been inspired by a lot of the sound. I mean, they used to just be a Neutral Milk Hotel shitposting Facebook.
They sound so like produced and like indie now.
They've had a bit of a stylistic change, I won't lie, but they still do have a lot of the sound that's coming from the early days, I'd say, in there. I mean, obviously, one of the songs here is one of the early songs on there.
Yeah.
I think the moment in which I was going to talk about, which I think is probably my favorite moment on this, is I think it's the ending to Poison Darts, where it suddenly just gets heavy out of nowhere.
Yeah. One of the songs on the Godfuck split does that too. I think it's
it's weirdly comparable.
it's the third track, I'm pretty sure.
I probably prefer the split to this EP. I think this EP is, it's not a disappointment. It's just a bunch of extra tiny little houses tracks.
It exists. It's fine. It's cute.
Yeah.
I think you get so distant on these pills. I'm not sure that's. I kind of get what the vibe's going for, but I don't really vibe with that song like I do with the other ones. I am happy that at least it's not just 4 fucking breakup songs as well. So it's not that type of sad. We do actually have some different topics on there, even if they are stuff that's kind of already been talked about before. And houses like I'll compare There Won't Be Another You to I Hate That You're Happy, and I Hate That You're Happy just clears it.
There's also no,
but it's a nice.
There's no weird complex with this album either. Like Misericord had that kind of like weirdly like reveling in misery aspect to it. I felt like kind of like
which is the whole point of it,
right? And I never quite gelled with that very well. So having that kind of gone from this was kind of a relief for me, at least.
That's yeah. You either gel with it or you don't. I mean, Transcendental houses have always been very nihilistic. I mean, their most neutral Milk Hotel song is "Song About Apathy" or song. Is it song Despite Apathy?
I'm all for that kind of stuff,
and,
just not suffering for suffering's sake. That's different. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good little EP. It has been cleared by everything. Well, not everything this week. We all know what the worst one is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's a cool little continuation. I was admittedly hoping for some more interesting work to be done on here. I think the most interesting part about it is the full re-recording of a 10-year-old song, basically, on this.
I will second that.
That's always interesting.
The sounds...
Yes.
Outside of that, I don't think the sounds really too evolved much from Misericord to really completely change anything up or anything on that. Yeah. Favorites are Poison Darts and Every Day I Wake Up on Another Reason Not To. Least favorites probably You Get So Distant on Those Pills.
I like Poison Darts. I like You Get So Distant on Those Pills. My least favorite's probably the first track.
I'm too brain dead for favorites and least favorites right now.
All right, and with that, Summer 2000. Ellie Kemper.
Spring 2005. Ellie Kemper, yes.
Follow up to John.
Thank you so much.
I might have a bit of a hot take about this.
Yeah.
You gotta do your hot take.
This is my favorite they've done this week, Ritz.
This is probably one of the best things this week.
Yeah.
I don't vibe with it as much as you two seem to, but it's not bad or anything like that.
It's an album, which is what I appreciate about it. It has very similar. It has these recurring riffs that go in throughout the whole album as well. There's these stylistic changes and stuff, and I don't think it's an album of the year contender or anything like that, but it is a fantastic, quick little album that happens here. I love the vibes that some songs bring out in here. The fucking Asian Glow collaboration at the end there is just furthering that Asian Glow is having a pretty fucking good year this year, despite not even having. I don't even think it's got an album out this.
That final track off of Ellie Kemper is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just the Asian Glow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's definitely a lot to like. Like, I was talking about Cameron kind of having that Sega Saturn sound. I think Madeline has the PS2 startup sound a little bit kind of mixed into it. There's that really airy, hazy kind of sound. I'm pretty sure that's the PS2 sound. Just kind of washed out a little bit.
The other collab that wasn't Lobster Fight, Killer Chip.
Exciting, excellent. Which I think this is the first time that we've actually properly covered Exciting Excellent.
Yes,
I think I've name dropped her a couple times, but this is the first time we've actually covered something that she's been on. She does have an album. I know We Will Look Back at You and Love You Forever. I think gave it a shout out during the interview. Sorry, it's something that's on there. And that's the more chiptune song that happens on this, and that's another entry into chiptune emo. That's the thing about this record, is that when we get these collaborations, we actually get a completely different sound for this album, but it fits in well. Like the Lobster Fight one we get a bit more of a jazzy song that happens in it. The Exciting Ass on this chiptune, and the Asian Glow one is where we get that full kind of shoegaze. And it's probably the cleanest production on this whole record is that Asian Glow track.
Yeah.
The chiptune stuff reminded me a little bit of like what Shaky Graves was trying to do on Movie of the Week with the Atari sounds. But I think this does it a lot better.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to give that stuff
I
some
feel
meaning,
like
but
I feel like adapting chiptune to emo is always going to be a lot easier than adapting anything technological to country, in a way.
yeah. I mean, emo and chiptune,
Because
that goes hand in hand. What were you saying?
Go ahead. I was gonna say just because how country music is just like a very traditional and set in its way, and you don't really deviate from it.
Yeah. But, you know, like emo...
This album is currently, by the way, it's currently number 394 in all 2023 albums on Rate New Music, which it's pretty good for this time of the year.
Yeah. That's fair. And I was going to say, like, a song like Recursion, then, you know, you talk about using sound fonts. Like, that definitely has Malin from Ocarina of Time. Like, that sound pattern is definitely on that track. And so hearing kind of how Summer 2000 or Jacob R. West or CH Point, whatever you want to say for the artist name, using that stuff to effective, like, means is really interesting. You know, like there's more obvious examples that we can cover, like the Fifth Wave is Real 8-bit, you know, covers of a bunch of different Fifth Wave songs. But having it mixed in here with the tracks is definitely interesting, and kind of recontextualizing some of those like sounds or those like their instruments more or less in a way is cool. Like how Blood Moon Waning does the Ocarina of Time piano, and then just kind of really starts to like differentiate itself from that. And you get that beautiful cello.
Yeah.
It's just very cool.
This album fucks.
It's good.
Cello is great. Anything with
my vocabulary has been reduced to this album fucks.
Yeah, it's been a long episode of recording, but this is. I know it's not Fifth Wave emo of the year even or anything like that. Fifth Wave emo album of the year, so anything like that. But I can see what the hype is about Summer 2000 after having listened to this. I don't think it's the most unique sound after we've listened to all this, but I think they're doing it one of the best out of all of them with this kind of lo-fi claustrophobia, we kind of call it. It's not quite claustrophobia pop, but it kind of actually it bridges on a bit of it.
I need to hear
getting some of that sampling that's happening into that stuff.
Yeah,
we do need to put that in at some point, but that'll be probably.
I heard a couple songs off of it because it just autoplayed. Pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, that's one of those big releases we had to have to just retroactively cover just to understand. But that'll probably be next year. Favorites,
but the way that it's just able to blur John.
I'm
just quickly saying the way that it's able to just blur these different genres that happens in this album, I think is fantastic. Even when this album does probably go on for a bit longer than it should, seeming as it kind of does finish some of its ideas, but then it comes back with the Asian Glow collab, and it's like, okay, well, apparently it had more. It's one of those artists that I'm just like now finally getting to, and it's good that it doesn't feel like we've gotten to them too late because of getting started, which is nice. And this stuff will be in my playlist, and hopefully the future stuff will be even higher.
Yeah,
it's been a long week with listening.
I like the Asian Glow collab. I like Blood Moon. Waning, which is the lobster fight collab. Romani and Pando are kind of interesting and weird. Yeah, and then least favorites probably I don't know. Something World, just to say something, I don't know.
Favorites for me, the collabs minus the lobster fight. The lobster fight one just didn't stick out to me. And no least favorite. It was all really solid.
The favorites for me are all the collabs. The least favorite is either Something World or Parallel Apparition, because that's what I'm talking about, where the album kind of phases out a bit.
Hell yeah.
Rankings then.
Alright, let's just all say that the last one for all of us is, I already forgot what it's called, Rock Rolls and Tall
Rock
Women.
walls and tall women.
Yeah, okay, I do remember.
Hanging Friends.
That's
And
our
the
least
one
favorite
above
for all of
that
us?
is going to be Taylormade.
Yeah, Rock
Cool,
Walls and
I'll
then
just
Taylormade.
get started on the ranking.
Yeah.
I'll just get started on the ranking. So yeah, Rock Rolls at 9, Taylormade, yeah, at 8. It's been a pretty good week, seeing as those at the bottom 2, and we've got now 7 that I got to properly rank here. Number 7, fuck, this is where it gets hard, but I probably, if I had to be real, I probably actually have to give it to Tiny Little Houses at number 7. Number
Damn,
6, yeah, number 6 probably going to be Neutral Milk Hotel, and then number 5 is going to be Bosses. 4 is going to be B52's Cosmic Thing. 3 is going to be Summer 2000's Ellie Kemper. 2 is going to be a lobster, bee, and cicada walk into a bar and find God, and number 1 is going to be Daisy and the Scouts Maggot.
I did not see that coming. I'm going to be totally honest.
When I really kind of think about it, I think the Daisy and the Scouts one is the most consistent out of all of them.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Dom, I'm going to before I try and blunder my way through this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot Bigger Boot, didn't I?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Bigger Boot, I will put. Let's see. I'll put Bigger Boot just below B52s.
Number 3 then.
All right.
Well, B52s I had as number 4.
B52s
Oh.
was 4.
I guess I didn't fully hear it
So
at the
Bigger
time.
Boot, B5. Yeah.
All right, I just remembered I forgot to place Tiny Little Houses in my ranking, so I had to do it real quick. So, yeah, Rock Walls is at the bottom, and then Taylormade's after that. That's not very controversial. Tiny Little Houses will be after that. It's fine EP. There's just not a lot to talk about with that. After that, it's harder, but I'm gonna have to put Summer 2000.
Damn.
I just liked everything else more. Like after that's gonna be the split EP
Fair.
because that's also pretty good. Then after that, it's Bosses. Number 4 is gonna be Bigger Boot. Number 3 is gonna be Daisy and the Scouts. Number 2 is Neutral Milk. Number 1 is B52s.
Shit. All right. Time for me to fumble my way through this. We got Rock Walls and Tall Women. Taylormade. Then I'm gonna have to put Lobster, Bee, and Cicada walk into a bar and find God there because I no memory. Then I'm gonna go with Bigger Boot. Sorry, I just didn't really get a chance to listen. I'm gonna put Tiny Little Houses then Bigger Boot. Just going off vibes there.
Yep. Okay.
Neutral Milk Hotel. Bosses. B52s. Summer 2000 and Daisy and the Scouts, and I think I got everything.
That sounds.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yep, that's everything. All right. Now, next
And it's
week.
a technical first place for me.
It's not quite how we do it here, but I'll give it. I'll
Yeah.
sure. So what do we all
It's the
think?
closest I've come in a while.
That's fair.
Who wants to start?
I changed my plan, so I'll start. I was gonna do a bunch of Australian punk EPs and have this whole game. Then my laptop died and I can't retrieve my files. So I'm gonna have to rebuild that. So in the meantime, we are going to talk about the same band, kind of. And it's a bigger band that both of you know about. we are going to be doing Joy Division's their first album. It's escaping me. It's the famous one, and then we're going to be doing Unknown Pleasures. There it is. Then we're going to be doing Joy Division's.
You know they made a T-shirt on that album.
Yeah. Truth, Corruption, and Power, Corruption, and Lies, or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. It's their second album.
One. Yeah, the Truth, Power, Corruption. Order. Yeah, the New Order one, yeah.
Yeah, Truth, Power, and Corruption by New Order. And it's the same band, kind of.
Man, I wonder what happened to Ian Curtis.
Oh, well. Well, make sure I got everything. Truth, Power, and Corruption, you said?
Yes. It's their second album. It's floral.
Power, Corruption, and Lies.
Power, Corruption, and Lies.
There we go.
I knew it was something like that. It's 3 words relating to something.
All right. I'll go next then, since Rich is not talking.
Yep. I was waiting for you.
I have decided to take a different approach. This is a genre we've never truly covered. We've covered it in passing, but never a full-bore approach. We are going to delve into classical music this week.
Oh fuck! What era? Can I be nerdy and ask what era?
20th century.
Okay, so like more of your impressionists, expressionists, that sort of deal.
We're going to be doing an album that was recorded by the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra with Yoel Levi and Sylvia McNair. This is the music of Samuel Barber. And I'm going to post that into the chat for you. Samuel Barber, you'll know the Adagio for strings. I really love his first essay for orchestra. That is a song I heard on the radio that I immediately had to track down and be like, what the fuck is this? I'm very into this. So that is the Spotify listing for that album. Now, along with that, I felt like I would pair that with a Fifth Wave EP, and I have done so. We are pairing this Samuel Barber CD album with a split EP by 2 bands, 40 Feet to Go and Mis Sueños Son de Tu Adios, if I pronounced that correctly. It's called Place Twigs on the Dead.
I'm going to have to also link on that.
Yeah. I'm getting it.
I got 3 things to pick, all of them around 30 minutes in length.
All right.
It's around that time of the year where we're starting to spam everything because we need to cram everything we absolutely can. So we can finally pass the test at the end of the year. That finally proves to everybody that we are indeed not fakers.
The definitive.
So the first one I'm going to pick. Yeah, the first one I'm going to pick is a band that I managed to catch live over the weekend. Very happy to have actually caught them in Newcastle, opening up for an Off the Rails fest, in which Amro and the Sniffers and Private Function were the main headliners for, so it was a pretty good gig. It's a band called Dust. They have an album or an EP, whatever you want to call it, called Etc. Etc. The second thing I'm going to pick up, continuing on me just picking artists that I have seen live, and also continuing on when Dominic decided to pick up Kali Masi again, even though there was probably no reason to. I'm going to cover Luca Brasi again with the World Don't Owe You Anything. As a bonus, I'm going to make Dominic and only Dominic watch that whole live show.
Fair enough.
Okay.
For why Trix doesn't have to, I just want to pick on Dominic.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't watch it anyways, I'm going to be honest.
It is on YouTube. Someone bootlegged the whole thing. I think it's pretty funny.
Hell yeah.
And to end this off, now after we did that interview, it seems that we've had a couple of artists start following us on Twitter. And if you have any belief that following us will make us cover you, you're absolutely correct. I love it when the recommendations come to me instead. It's a lot easier on me. So we'll be doing the Online Friends album, Unlimited Blade Works, as well.
All right.
I almost picked this.
Hell yeah.
That's very funny. I love that. Yeah. All right. Cool. So that makes this New Order, Power, Corruption, and Lies, Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. What a double bill already. Dust, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. Luca Brasi's The World Don't Owe You Anything, and I Have to Watch the Live Show. And then we got Unlimited Blade Works by Online Friends. And I have chosen the music of Samuel Barber as played by the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra with Sylvia McNair and Yoel Levi, as well as the split EP by 40 Feet to Go and Mis Sueños Son de Tu Adios, Place Twigs on the Dead. That will do it for Dissonant Waves this week.
Hell yeah.
My name
Long
is
recording
Dominic.
episode.
You can catch me online at DAZICHOCKI on Twitter, Dominic Chakotay on YouTube, where you can catch my short film, Beat. And this is edging into 2 hours of recording time, so let's pass it off to Ritz.
we pretty much, we're going to hit 2 hours, I think.
And I'll probably cut it down by at least 10
after
minutes.
It's been passed on to me. I've been Ritalin for Kids at github.io. YouTube channel in the description below. Yeah.
I've been Tricks. You can catch me places.
Yeah.
In the description below. DissonantWaves.space is our website. We do have merch on Redbubble. I was actually, Tricks, there is no clock, there is no puzzle. Where are they?
The clock and the puzzle?
Make them available to purchase.
I thought I did. I'll fuck around with it and do it.
Yeah, I was going to purchase it, and then it wasn't there. Anyway.
Damn, I remember enabling the clock and the puzzle.
Well, we will have more merch in our store soon. But I'm also on the Games I'm About podcast real quick. We're doing some Kingdom Hearts episodes. Check it out. Dominic Chakotay is a guest on there sometimes, and that is me. And we are now at 2 hours of recording. So that'll be it for everybody. Thank you so much and have a great night. Bye-bye.
I fell asleep on the toilet before this.
And you bounce back. Hell yeah.